Hey retro food fans, today we're going back to 1987 and we are going to make a dessert that I've put on my Thanksgiving table more times than I can count. It's a little twist, you're going to love it. Let's get started. Hey, this is YesterKitchen and I'm Jill. So today is part 3 in our Thanksgiving series and I promised you a dessert and today you're going to get a great one. So I know pecan pie is very popular for Thanksgiving. Well, when I make a pecan pie, it's a bourbon pecan pie, of course. But instead of pie, I'm making you a bourbon pecan cake. This is it's just awesome. It's a little different, but it's the same flavors. You got the Thanksgiving feel. And we're gonna make it right now. So the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna put 1 cup of butter, that's 2 sticks, softened, into a bowl. 1 and 2. And we are gonna combine that, where's my sugar? With 2.5 cups of sugar. Yes, it's a lot of sugar. This is a sweet cake. Remember, we're going off of the pecan pie kind of thing. So I've got my beater, I've got my bowl. Let's do this. Okay, so we have our butter. This doesn't want to stay. We have our butter and we have our sugar and it's all combined. So meanwhile, you want to turn your oven on at 325. I know it is a low oven. This one bakes a little longer than usual. And you want to have a pan ready. You can use either a bundt pan or a tube pan. I'm going to use the tube pan and I'll tell you why later, but either one will work perfectly. Well greased. Make sure you got it well greased. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to break 1 egg individually and pour it into the mixing bowl. And I'm going to beat it a little bit and then I'm going to add a little bit more. Why am I adding eggs into a bowl before I put them in there? Because every once in a while you get an egg that's like has a little impurity in it. And if you put it into your whole mix and it's like one of those eggs, your mix is ruined. So this way you at least get to check out each egg. So let's get going. Okay, so that's our base. Now we're going to do 2 more things. We're going to have kind of 3 little bowls going. So we'll get rid of all these eggshells. Okay, so everything's out of the way. And we're ready for phase 2 and phase 3. So let's just go ahead and scrape up the edges of our bowl, and then we're just going to put it away for a second. Now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take in a separate bowl 3 cups of flour, and to that we're going to take a little whisk just so it's easier, and we're going to add 1 teaspoon of salt, 2 teaspoons of baking powder, and 1 teaspoon of nutmeg. I always grind fresh nutmeg. If you just have it out of the jar from the store, you're fine, but you're going to have so much better flavor if you grind your own nutmeg, trust me. And especially around the holidays when you're serving eggnog, it's so much fun to just grate your own right over the cup. Okay, so now we have that. That's part 2. We're going to get that out of the way, and I'm going to bring in a 3rd bowl, and this has 1 cup of sour cream, and to that, here's where the magic happens. We're going to add a 1/2 cup of bourbon. Yeah, it's a lot of bourbon, but it's a big cake. So then you're just going to take a little whisk. I'm trying to do it so it doesn't spill out, but I'm trying to do it quickly for you guys. So, you know, this is kind of like reality TV. And we're going to mix all of that till sour cream, and it smells so good in here. And that's before the cake even goes into the oven. This sour cream is going to mix with the bourbon, and you're just going to want this beautiful, smooth little paste. Okay. So now everything comes together. We're going to bring back our bowl, put the base in it. Put that aside for a second. Okay, so now we have our sour cream mixture, our flour mixture, and our cake base. So what you're going to do is you're just going to add 1/3 of the sour cream and flour in there, beat it, and then another 1/3, beat it, another 1/3, beat it. So let's get started. Okay, so here's our cake base. It doesn't have to be exact, but put about 1/3 in. And then about 1/3 of your flour, just eyeball it. You're gonna be fine. I promise you, you can't mess this cake up. And now we're gonna go ahead and mix everything together. All right, look at that gorgeous batter. It is very well combined. You want to just keep mixing until you don't see any lumps and until everything looks really well combined, which is now. And oh boy, do I want to lick the beaters right now. But I won't. Got my martini for later. Okay, so now we have that. Now we have between a cup and a half and 2 cups, just whatever. Woohoo, maybe now I have a cup and a half. Whatever you happen to have on hand of pecans. You want them chopped. As you can see, I didn't chop them super fine, just enough. And I actually toast my pecans before I add them in the cake. It just brings out the flavor more. Seriously, take a dry frying pan, about medium heat, pour your pecans in, and just kind of start stirring them around. You're gonna start to actually smell them, and you're gonna hear the tiniest little sizzle, which is the oil and the nuts that are kind of bubbling up. In they go. Okay, so you just wanna mix all those nuts in super well. And then, like I said, I'm using my tube pan, and I have this very well greased. I do buy the baking spray, so it has a little flour in it. If you want to do butter and then put flour in and shake it out, you can do that too, but I like easy. So I buy the baking spray. And into the tube it goes. And the reason I actually want a tube pan for this particular cake, even though I think a bundt cake is a little prettier, is because after we put glaze on, which will have more bourbon in it, I like to decorate it with pecans on the top. And with a bundt pan, pecans won't stay, they'll just slide right off. So I wanted a flat surface, which is why I use this pan. But this is just such a great cake. It's just a little something different from your ordinary pecan pie. And boy, do I love pecan pie. Actually, pecan pie was my daddy's favorite pie. So I went ahead and made it for him, and I started adding bourbon. He loved it. But for now, we have our tube pan. It's full of batter, and I'm gonna go ahead and put this in my oven at 325. It's gonna take a while. It's gonna take about 60 to 90 minutes because it is so low, but you really want the temperature to come up on this cake very slowly so it's really moist. So I will let you know exactly where my oven landed by the time we're done, but you know the drill. Take a cake tester, put it in. If it comes out clean, it's done. If it comes out with batter on it, stick it back in the oven. When it comes out of the oven, let it cool for 15 minutes in the pan. Hey, I just wanted to pop in because I didn't want to just tell you what to do. I want to show you what to do. You're welcome. Okay, so our cake actually took 80 minutes, an hour and 20 minutes to cook. Stuck in my little cake tester, came out perfectly clean. It's been sitting on this rack in front of my open window. I felt so old school. I love it. And here's our cake. So it's cool enough to touch. So take a look. This is our beautiful cake. So what we're gonna do now is all we're gonna do is we're gonna flip it onto a serving platter. And then we're gonna leave it alone. Because, you know, cakes sometimes need their privacy to cool. So we're just gonna get it on the bottom, make sure that it's perfectly centered, and flip it over. Is she gonna do it? Is she gonna do it? Let's find out. Ready? Here's one. And I did bring my knife just in case I needed to do a little surgery, but I don't think I'm gonna need to. Look at that. How perfect is that? There is your bourbon pecan cake. Now, like I said, it does need to cool. So just go ahead and center it. You can move it. It's probably gonna take about an hour. So I'll see you in about an hour when it is completely cool. Did I drive that point home enough yet? Completely cool. I'll see you in a bit. So it's been an hour and a half, and our cake is completely cool. Look at that thing. Actually, I had it sitting by the window. It's perfect. Okay, so now all you need to do is make your glaze. And the glaze has a little bit of bourbon in it, of course. So we have in this bowl 2 cups of powdered sugar. And to that, I'm gonna add a tablespoon of bourbon, just a tablespoon, and just start whisking it around. I have 2 tablespoons of water at the ready. put about half of it in. You do not want a super runny glaze because you don't want it to fall all off of your cake, but you don't want thick either, and you never really know how it's going to go. So now I'm going to add the other tablespoon in because it's really not coming together. And I use a whisk. You might want to use a whisk because it just really helps. Okay, so it's kind of like marshmallowy, but I want it a tiny, tiny, tiny bit looser, but not much. So when you do, you just want to add your water just a little, there we go, a little bit at a time. Okay, that's pretty much it. So now, I'm going to move our glaze over, bring in our beautiful, beautiful cake. And all that's left to do is just pour it around. And just keep pouring it. And of course it's going to hopefully run down the sides just a little bit. But we do have the two pans, so if it catches on the edges, that's fine too, because we really want it on the cake. That's the most important part. And I don't have my spatula here, so I'm just using my whisk. But if you have it any looser than that, it's going to run like off the top of your cake and down your sides and away from the top of the cake. And you really don't want that. So it's just starting to, we can help it a little bit. Just a tiny bit. I'll tell you what, we've got a tiny bit more. So, remember our Harvey Wallbanger cake? That glaze had a ton of booze in it. This is not so much. So you're not going to get that super, super strong alcohol flavor. It's just going to kind of complement the bourbon that's in the cake. And the bourbon in the cake, it's not overly, oh look at that. There you go, that's what you want. It's not overly strong because we have so much batter. Now the last thing I do is I add pecan halves to just kind of decorate around the top. And while I do that, as I did in every other episode, I'm going to say the last thing I'm thankful for. And that would be superpowers. What? I call things that are our passions or especially good at superpowers, because I think we all deserve to have superpowers. So my superpower happens to be food history and cooking. I'm not really much good at anything else. Nah, I'm sure there's a few things. But I happen to be especially good at food history and cooking. And I'm very grateful I have them, or else I'd be bored. Anyway, here's your cake. Very, very simple. And now what we're going to do is we're going to cut a piece. You just want to, oh, you can hear the outside crunching a little bit. Just a very light saw, just to kind of get it through. In you go, and look at that. Way. All those glorious, glorious pecans. Isn't that beautiful? This truly is one of my favorite cakes. It's made an appearance at many, many Thanksgivings. It's fabulous. Give it a try. So that's the end of my Thanksgiving series. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you try some of them. And if you do, let me know. And also, if you have a superpower, I would love to hear that too, because you know I love to know all about you. If you had fun with Thanksgiving, wait about a week and I've got a December holiday series coming your way as well. If you would like to explore more dishes from your childhood or just the past, I invite you to subscribe. I release new videos every Friday. In the meantime, here's some more retro dishes for you. And remember, every dish, even Bourbon Pecan Cake, hello my love, has a story. I'll see you in the next video, and happy Thanksgiving.